especially old amputees that's, in their 50s, 60s, or some that's in their 70s, that is never too late. Because, a lot of, amputees, they sit at home and they say, oh man, I wish I was active. I wish this. I used to hear, able-bodied people around me, they call me by my last name. They say, Gooch, man, you never sit down. You always moving. You always doing something. And so I used to run across other amputees who said, man, I wish I could do what you can do. And to me, it was just natural. Even today, people look at me and they say, man, you get groceries, you go to the store, and it's natural for me. I never, ever felt like I couldn't do anything.
Today, at the missing piece, we are having no other person who I have known for the past 2 years now when he contacted me at my 5K walk. When he contacted me for my 5K walk, he was living in Alabama at the time, and he told me he was coming to the 5K walk. And I was really astounded to say, you coming all the way from Alabama to New Jersey to come for a 5K walk? And he told me, yes, I'm coming. And to my own surprise, he came, and he also came with his then fiancée and now wife. Last year, around this time, a year ago, I attended their wedding, one of the most beautiful weddings I've ever attended in Alabama. It was astonishing. It was beautiful. He is no other than James Gouch, if I call it right. It's gonna end it. Gooch. He is no other than James Gooch. Mr. Gooch has been an amputee for over 38 years. And now Mr. Gooch is hosting a program, a nonprofit program, now where he lives in Tennessee. And he has a nonprofit for amputees, which is being active after amputation. And this nonprofit that he is hosting in Tennessee, he have other amputees coming around, going places, doing things, doing activities. Next year, Mr. Gooch is having a bicycle race or motorcycle race, is having cruise, and I know he has more things under his belt for amputees come next year. I'm not going to say much about that because he has the details, but I'm going to hand the audience over to Mr. Gooch so he can tell us, he can give us a brief summary or brief biography about himself. Mr. Gooch, James?
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Lydia, for having me on your broadcast today. My name is James Gooch. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, where I lost my leg over, well, it will be 38 years, May 8th, 1988, 3 weeks before my high school graduation. And 3 years after that, in July of 91, not only is I'm an amputee, but I had my left eye removed. So I'm blind in one eye and amputee. Um, well, Well, I just like to give like a little story. I was very active in high school. I played basketball, I ran track. I was your normal kid, frisbee, stickball. I was real active. Uh, and when I lost my leg, when I had just turned 18, uh, April, about about a month before I lost my leg, I can remember laying on the ground, because I always tell this story. I can remember laying on the ground, and when I look back, because I got hit by a car, the car hit me, ran me over, took my leg off, and when I look back, I said, all I did, I still do it today. I kissed my lips and I pointed up and I said, man, my basketball career is over. And from that day forward, uh, until I really started my nonprofit organization, I always wanted to help out other amputees. And my inspiration for doing what I'm doing now, it was a guy named Darrell. My first prosthetic leg I threw it in the corner. It hurt. I didn't want to put it on. And so I stayed on crutches for 3 years until I ran across a guy at our mall in Detroit. His name was Darrell, who had a little limp. I thought I was the only disabled person in the world. And when I went up to him, I said, hey, is your leg gone? And he was above knee amputee like myself. And I never forget Darrell. He talked about me so bad. Said, if you don't put that leg on, and he gave me some other little choice words. And when I got my leg, I can remember everybody, they was kind of like, well, how soon after you get your leg will you be walking? I walked the day I picked up my leg, which was on a Friday. I was walking with assistance of a cane. Now I didn't have the correct gait to walk with a prosthetic leg, but I walked right away, and I've been walking ever since. Few years later, ran across some guy that was in a wheelchair that was paralyzed. I got off into playing wheelchair sports, and I played wheelchair basketball for 25 years. I pushed track. I was just still real active. I've been active ever since, I lost my leg. I never stopped. But what inspired me to do my nonprofit organization is going around to different amputee support groups. Uh, Let me see, I'm 38. 18 years ago, I ran across a double amputee who gave me this book called You're Not Alone. Now, that changed my whole perspective on being disabled. And I read my story in there, and I wanted to always be an inspiration to other amputees to know them that for one, it was life after being amputee, and that you could stay active. Because I used to hear, able-bodied people around me. They call me by my last name. They say, "Gooch, man, you never sit down. You always moving. You always doing something." And so I used to run across other amputees who said, "Man, I wish I could do what you can do." And to me, it was just natural. Even today, people look at me and they say, "Man, you get groceries, you go to the store, you do this," and it's natural for me. I never ever felt like I couldn't do anything. Uh, I guess I want to prove something because, for one, when I lost my leg, which I see a lot of old timers who've been amputee for a while, I was in straight denial of my leg being gone. So I had to prove to everybody that I can do everything. So I went through that stage, and I don't know. I just like to just like Lydia was saying, that my ride that I'm about to do on the e-bike. And I really like to touch on that because something hit me about a month ago and said, well, go for a ride. I'm like, wait a minute, a ride. So came up with a logo, started a riding club, for amputees, their family and friends. And some say ride from Miami to St. Maria, Michigan. Now, I haven't ridden a bike since I lost my leg. I tried one time, I failed, I busted up my right knee that I had to have surgery on. But some told me to get a bike. Um, so I'm kind of Googling, online for different bikes, and this e-bike came up because I got back issues. And so I said, well, I can paddle, and it was an e-bike with a sidecar. And I had been looking at it for a few weeks, and then next some say, well, get one. So from that, I went to where I'm at today. An idea about riding from Miami to Florida, I just put it out there in the atmosphere. Didn't have the funds to get the bike, But some say, well, tell other people about what you're trying to do. Got a sponsor to get the bike. Paid for my airline ticket to go out to Austin, Texas to test ride the bike. I called the owner of the company, say, well, man, this would be good for the amputee community. So they line to sponsor me for the bike. I done set up, I got 27 different amputee support groups I'm going to go to in Miami to Georgia to go to speak on what I'm doing about the importance of staying active, the importance of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because to me, if I hadn't played wheelchair basketball and got with other really people that was disabled and was active, I don't know where I would be at today. And I think, even on my journey, I used to pick guys up that was disabled and amputees, and I used to get them in the car and we used to just go to the park. We're pushing the wheelchair, we would walk, and it just changed my life. So I want to be an inspiration to amputees, their family, and not only that, but just for the general population on how important it is to be active and being able to move. So that's a little spill on me. And like I said, Lydia, again, thank you for having me on here.
Thank you very much, James. I'm going to call you James because, I know you said people call you by your last name a lot, Mr. Good. Yeah, but I'm going to refer to you as James for the podcast sake. And you're doing very, very well right now. I just have a few questions that I would like to engage you with so that we can have a very active discussion, because it is not an interview, it is discussion. We're going to discuss, and the discussion can go at any kind of angle. There is no, well, I cannot say this, or I can say that, or I cannot say this, or whatever, because what we want here is the message to go out. And in any way we can send our message out, it is absolutely wonderful. So let me ask you first, I'm just going to go to the mind and body kind of structure, because I am doing this, I'm doing it in the sense that I also want to inspire other amputees to say, it's not over. We are still living, we are still active, we are still breathing, we are still walking around, and we can still continue to go on. So let me go there. Thank you very much, James. I'm going to call you James because, I know you said people call you by your last name a lot, Mr. Good. Yeah, but I'm going to refer to you as James for the podcast sake. And you're doing very, very well right now. I just have a few questions that I would like to engage you with so that we can have a very active discussion, because it is not an interview, it is discussion. We're going to discuss, and the discussion can go at any kind of angle. There is no, well, I cannot say this, or I can say that, or I cannot say this, or whatever, because what we want here is the message to go out. And in any way we can send our message out, it is absolutely wonderful. So let me ask you first, I'm just going to go to the mind and body kind of structure, because I am doing this, I'm doing it in the sense that I also want to inspire other amputees to say, it's not over. We are still living, we are still active, we are still breathing, we are still walking around, and we can still continue to go on. So let me go there. It's the mind and physical resources of ourselves. Hold on, I got a message. All right. So now, James, I have a few questions that I would just like to ask you about. And these questions are discussion, like I previously mentioned. They are just so, because you're a veteran to the amputee community now.
Yes.
And you will know how some of our body, mind, and physical ability work in this stage. So let me go and ask you, what type of movement makes your body feels right now? Since we are talking about activities after amputation.
Well, for me, because I really enjoy walking, but something that I done took up because of my wife is yoga, and I'm finding out the importance of stretching your body. 'Cause, I like to go to the gym, especially now. I'm about to do this ride, but the stretching of your body. A lot of stuff that I'm learning from my wife now, which I'd have known years ago, especially being disabled. Like let's say for instance, being amputee, we should, strengthen our back, our joints, our arms and our knees, and the importance of walking and stretching. That your joints, for your arms. I mean, being an amputee, we need everything, because like the other day in my apartment, I noticed, I kind of noticed different things from my body now. It's like, wow, when I go down the steps, I got to hold on to the rail, my shoulder. So it's a lot of things that, being amputee and being aware of and staying active. 'Cause we need we need everything. We need our shoulders for pulling up. We need our arms and our legs for getting out of bed. Things that I took for granted. I mean, 'cause now I just turned 56, and a lot of things that I was just able to do, I'm not able to do as well now. But if I wasn't as active as I was, in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I don't know where I would be because I can still do a lot of stuff. That's why with this e-bike ride that I want to do, I want to make sure that the amputee world knows the importance of staying active and keeping that blood flowing. Because if you don't use those joints, you're gonna lose them. 'Cause as you get older, you may think, well, I just, I don't need my back. I can do this, I can do that. But being disabled, especially being amputee, we need everything.
Well, for me, with all the joints and activities, it's not because of the amputation. I think it's because of, they call it the senior moments. Being up there in our 50s as does not make the body and move as so um for you, I understand being active, because as a young guy, a young teenager coming up into an adulthood, that must have been one of the most difficult moments in your life. And in order for you to still continue to feel relevant in life, you just have to stay active for people to look at you and say, well, he's an amputee, but he's still able. He can do it. And I think again, though I have always been an active person as well, I am a go-getter. I am a push and puller, and so I have always been that person that is always been out there, road runner. Let's jump, let's carry on. I've always been that individual. So being an amputee now, not that I am trying to prove myself, because I became an amputee in my early 20s, in my early 50s. I've already proven myself in life that I could do certain things. Now it's for me, it's just to see how much I could help other amputees to say it's not over. Life is still there. I could sit down in my house, sit down in front of my television, watch TV, and don't worry about anything about life other than go to work, come home, and take care of my family. But that is not who I am. and it is not enough for me. So that's the reason why I formed the Lydia Amputees Foundation and the podcast. The podcast is for us to talk about our lives. So let's continue with this. I don't know whether you still have residual problem, but the question is, how does residual limb feels different in activities?
Wow. Now that's a good question. Now, I didn't have what they call phantom pains. Never had them. I lost my leg when I was 18. I had my first phantom pain at 50. So I get them real bad every 2 years. Never had any problem with my residual limb at all. Uh, until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, because I went through uh, a divorce when I was 44. So I stopped, so for about 6 years, I wasn't active at all. I done gained weight. That's why, I done lost little weight now. And so for the last maybe probably Lydia, really how I knew because my first time ever doing a walk was when I came out to New Jersey. Because I hadn't walked at all. I had got lazy and wasn't doing anything. So when I got done doing that walk that I did out in New Jersey, I got my first sore on my stump because I was so active. So now every now and then, when I get to walking, right on the side of my residual limb, it lets me know that it's time to slow. It's starting to build a callus now, but I gotta build my stump back up. That's why I got a stationary bike that I'm riding because a lot of problem that other amputees had, I didn't have because I was so active. So now I'm having all types of issues with my residual limb. I just got a new prosthetic setup, which is one of the best I ever had. That's set up for being active. So so maybe, I got a lot of information on the new leg that I got. It's the top of the line. And yeah, yeah. So residual, I'm starting to have little problems now. Uh, like right now, I got a little sore, that for the last 3 days I had to walk on it real light. And I'm not used to it. Like I say, now I'm calling other amputees saying, hey man, how do you deal with this? They say, you've been an amputee, for 30 some years, you don't know. I said, I didn't have any problems. So I'm a newcomer, when it comes to having problems with my stomach, 'cause I didn't have any. So I'm having issues now that I don't even know what to do. People say, you've been an amputee, you should know what to do. So even being an amputee, because we're all different. Some had problems earlier, and some had problems later on in life. Some was real active. Some stopped and tried to come back. I done ran across so many people now that when they slowed up, it was real hard for them to come back with that residual limb. Because some walk, they get a tear. So now I got to be real careful when I take my prosthetic leg off to kind of watch stuff that they had told me years ago. Make sure I don't have any blisters, anything like that. But other than that, I take care of my residual limb, and now my body tells me when to slow up. So even though I want to stay real active, I got to be real careful now because you can get a sore. I don't know how it is for you, Lydia. Having a residual limb with your arm, but I know that if you don't take care of your limb, you're not able to put your prosthetic leg on anyway.
Well, which means it's not my arm. It's no problem with the arm. It's the right arm that I'm having problem with. I'm having extreme pain on the right shoulder because of the using it much more than normal now. Even though I have the prosthetic hand that is helping me to balance my shoulder out, my shoulders out, but at the same time, I am still having a lot of because I'm using it more often now than none, my right shoulder than the left one. I've always been a lefty. So the right compensating now for the left, it's really paining me a lot, and I'm taking a lot of the cortisone shots, which I have taken about maybe about 6 of them in the past few couple of years now, and it's bothering me. And sometimes it starts in the middle of the night when I'm supposed to be sleeping. And in the beginning, I used to kind of turn my nose around on people who were using the Tiger Balm, the Bengay, and all those things. Now I line them up on my nightstand. I'm rubbing them every night. So that's the problem I have. And sometimes I do have nodules that comes on because of the angle that is underneath here, just because it holds the prosthetic hand. And because of that, it creates some nodules that I have done about 2 surgeries on. I've also done other shots on them as well. So we all have our own bouts in this in this structure of our amputation, depending on where the amputation is. So no amputee will tell me that they don't have the pain. The reason why you never had the pain earlier because you were, I want to believe because you were young. So you were not feeling it at the time, or if you were ignoring it. Now that you're a matured individual and you slowed down a little bit, it's you're now listening to your body. Okay, let's continue to go. And this time I want to talk about the mindsets and motivation. What belief do you have about being active as an amputee? I know you've said some of them, but maybe with a specific question, you can reiterate the answer again.
Now you say, what's my motivation?
What beliefs?
Oh, beliefs on staying
Yes.
active. Uh, I would have to say, my belief on staying active, for me, it gives me purpose uh, on living. You know, I had 4 kids when I grew up. Well, that I had young, and I can remember, and I had them all back to back. There was one, two, three, and four. So um, my drive was them in the beginning. I can remember taking them to the basketball court uh, in my wheelchair, playing with them. I can remember hopping around on my one leg with them. And I can remember, my kids telling me that I was their inspiration. And even still to the day, I think about my one son who played professional basketball overseas, who got literally a tattoo of me on the back of his calf. Uh, I got another one who went to college that became a teacher. They played basketball. I got another one that played football. Then I got a older one that's in the service now that love playing sports. So being active to me is very, very important. Because when I'm not active, when we talk about the mind, for me, when I'm not active, and maybe growing up being as active as I was, I get depressed because I deal with anxiety, being disabled. I was in denial. I had to lost my leg, slight depression. Uh, so staying active to me gives me motivation, and encouragement. Used to be a time I used to hear other people that encouraged me about staying active, but now I look in the mirror and I can motivate myself on staying active because of how I feel, and and just loving me. A lot of people now they say that I glow. For a long time I used to look down at my prosthetic leg, and I was self conscious. Earlier on being amputee, people couldn't tell because I was a great pretender. I could pretend like everything was fine, I'm good. But then when I was all alone, and that's one thing I can say about being active, made me feel good about me. And I done ran across a lot of people that's an amputee that once they got involved with like going to the gym or getting involved with some type of movement, they say they felt better. And that's how I am. Uh, so yeah, my I always got to talk about my kids. Cause they, still to the day, they call me their champion. My son Joshua, that's the one with the tattoo. He called me pops. He said, and my first two look just like me, and my son is built. He's kind of, so that's my motivation now to get back into the gym and to work out and to show other amputees, especially old amputees that's in their 50s, 60s, or some that's in their 70s, that is never too late. Because a lot of amputees, they sit at home and they say, oh man, I wish I was active, I wish this. And I had a couple to come and stay with me in Alabama who was literally sitting at home. Somebody gave me a call and said, "Hey, will you come and talk to him?" So two of them I let come stay with my house, and right now they wasn't driving a car, they wasn't doing anything, and now every time I see them on Facebook, they walking, they traveling, they going on cruises, they driving a car. They say, "Oh man, you was our motivation. We see how active you was." So it's like a give and take. It's like the more I'm an example for other amputees, really they doing a lot for me because when I see that they stay active, it gives me motivation to keep moving for other amputees.
Yes, this is so good, James. I think I met one of your sons at your
Yeah.
wedding.
Yes. The
And so,
oldest.
oh, that's the oldest. Oh, so you have
Yes.
four boys.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I met one of them at your wedding, and it looks just like you. It looks
Yes.
just like you said. For me, being an amputee, it's not the activity, the physical activity that keeps me motivated. It's what I am doing for amputees that
Hmm.
keeps me motivated. Though it is indirectly physical because I am in and out, up and down, running from places to places, checking up on amputees, talking to them on the phone, being their counselor, talk to them all the time. Those are the things, those are the beliefs that keeps me
Hmm.
motivated to say, I am doing well. Coming out 5 years ago, I'm saying coming out, I'm using it loosely because the first year when I lost my hand, I could not come out. I was embarrassed, I was ashamed, I was in despair, depressed, and you name it, I had it within me. But starting to help other amputees, talking about my amputation, being motivational speaker, speaking to other people, talking to somebody like you, has given me a great joy to say there is more in me than an amputation. This is just a mishap in part of my growth in my matured adult days, but also it's nothing that is stopping me from being being motivated, from motivating others, or for motivating myself as an individual. So we all have different activities that keeps us going in life. But for me, helping other amputees has been the greatest joy in my life. Right now, I am getting ready to ship some things to Sierra Leone for other amputees, wheelchairs, what they call it, the rollers, the anything you name it, commode. I have a shed and I have full of items that I want to ship to Sierra Leone so that those things could help aid the movement of amputees in those places. We might look wheelchairs and walkers and all those things as they are just an ordinary here in the United States, but those are useful commodities in the place from where I came from, in third world countries at large. Another motivation for me was the day before Thanksgiving, an amputee called me and stayed on the phone with this individual for a long time because there were so many things going on in that person's life that they could not bear the fact that a holiday is coming and life is not being what they want it to be. As an amputee myself and an individual who want to motivate others, I had to stay on the phone and talk to this person for a while, encouraging, using encouraging words to make sure that they feel as though Thanksgiving was the next day, their life is more worthy than anything else. I called the person again the next day on Thanksgiving Day, not only to wish the person a blessed and happy Thanksgiving, but also to check on them and to see what they're up to. And at that moment, their encouraging words towards me made me feel at ease that I don't have to drive to their place and spend some time with them because I don't mind at all. It's not like I'm depriving my family from Thanksgiving, but my family have me year round and I have them. But if I could save someone on that particular day, that would have been the greatest peace for me. But they were able to tell me that they were doing well and things were going well for them at that moment. And I'm still talking to the person, so I know that they are fine. Okay. What fear or doubt come up when you think about exercise and movement?
Well, one of my big fears is a few years back, I had to have shoulder surgery. Uh, I guess probably from playing wheelchair basketball. I got out the shower, I put my hand on the sink, and my whole shoulder went in. So I tore up everything. So my fear for a little while was, would I be active again? Uh, I was scared to do anything because it was my dominant hand, and I was really scared to have the surgery, and the most I could do was lift it up this way. So after having the surgery, because I was very active. I love playing cornhole with other amputees, and it's something that you said, Lydia, that kind of touched me. Is one of the guys that came and stayed with me, name was Keith, and seeing him transform from the state that he was in into what he is today. Give me every time I see him on Facebook, every time he called me, he's in Atlanta, gives me great joy. I was kind of sitting up here and tearing eyed, when you say that you love helping out amputee. I think that's what really saved my life, because I was at a state uh mentally until I met Darrell. And Darrell was so excited because I think I was the at for his first amputee that he hung out with. So Darrell was so excited that his excitement got me excited that I think got him excited. So I think one of the greatest, and I go around to a lot of amputee support groups, and I think one of the greatest things that we can do, and even overcoming fears that I have, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to be active again. But the one who I help is helping me now, and that's Keith. He said, "Man, your determination to do certain things kept me going. James, you can do it." And the reason I'm doing this bike ride, the reason I'm planning on doing all the things that I'm doing now, even when I came out to New Jersey, it was Keith. It was Keith, somebody who was down and out. So now, I mean, he always tell me I'm his motivation, but he's my motivation, even to overcome fear. I just came back from my first anniversary. We went up to the Smoky Mountains, and me and my wife, we was doing cornhole, and I'm looking like, oh, I can do it. Because I was so afraid, that I was going to mess my shoulder up and all of this. So one of my fears is injury. Now that when I was young, I didn't think about, if I fall out the chair. I mean, if I fall off the bike, 'cause I had to have surgery on my right knee. So fears that I didn't have when I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s is injury and being disabled. Because when my arm went down, and after I had that surgery for about 6 weeks, I wasn't able to use my arm. And I was alone in my house, and I had to learn how to cook and everything with this hand here. So my greatest fear, when it comes to being active is injury. Something I never thought about. So I'm real cautious. That's why, like everybody told me with this bike ride, oh, you should be able to ride a regular bike. I said, no, I'm getting a bike with a sidecar to make sure that I'm balanced for my back. I said, well, no, I'm not going to paddle all the way 1,900 miles. I'm going to get an e-bike that can assist me on rowing. So my fear would be injury and being not able to stay active when it comes to fear. Yeah, we went a helicopter ride, and then we went horseback riding 1,500 feet up on a mountain, on the side of a mountain. So I had never ridden a horse like that at all. Oh, and that's another experience. I'm on a horse, and so they had, for one, when I went, I guess you had to sign something, so they really didn't want me to ride. So they said, "Have you ever rode before?" And I kind of told her. I said, "Oh yeah, you know how to rode." And I went to a couple of little amputee ride before. I had never really rode, just a little bit. And literally, I had to get on the back of a horse and go up a side of a mountain. And I'm like, wow, because they weren't gonna let me go. But the lady was like, "Oh, well, he rode. He got experience." I'm sitting there like, "No, I don't," especially like that, and which could have been dangerous for me. But I enjoyed it. So that's a story I'm gonna tell with some other amputees. And what got me was on this thing, they said, well, the horse doesn't balance you on the saddle. You have to balance yourself on the saddle. So when I got on there, he came with one leg. I said, "Have you ever dealt with amputees?" He said, "Make sure that your legs stay straight out." So I enjoyed it. Now, will I go up on the side of a mountain again? Maybe. My wife said no. But for me, maybe. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, she was. So she says she's not doing it again. No. Yes.
Oh boy. My daughter and I went to Mexico, and I told her that I was gonna go zip tie riding, and she said, "Hell no, I wasn't doing it." I said, "Girl," I said, "I'm gonna go up there and get to that thing, and then go to zip." And she was like, "No, you're not doing it, mommy." So she talked me out of it, but those are some things that You think in your mind that mine is, it looks so nice for you to go on those excursions when you
Yes.
go out of the country or when you go on vacation. What's the
Yes.
vacation? When I don't want to stay in a room. I want to do a lot of things.
Yes. Yes.
I I know. Okay, we rolling. We
Yes.
rolling. We rolling. So I'm gonna choose just a random question that I'm gonna ask you right now. And you talk about equipment, you talk about prosthetics, and you've done it all. You've been on wheelchair, you've been on crutches, you're working on um, your prosthetic limbs. I have seen you active on them, and I know you're doing very, very well with them. So let me ask this. Does any current prosthetic support the level of activity you want to do? Like when you went on the horseback riding in the mountain or the helicopter ride or the whatever you did, does any of that help you at all with the prosthetic claim?
Uh yes. Well, I just received when I moved to Nashville, I went to what's the name? Surgical clinic. And when I went there, I went to go drop off a flyer because I'm starting an online support group, and I had a broke foot that I had for years. But my insurance, you can only get new prosthetics. I think it's every 3 years. And when I went in, the guy went in the back. He said, "Let me see your leg," and he took my leg off. He came back, and he had this spring. I had never seen a foot like this, especially for above knee. He had this spring, and he had me to go out and he had me to kind of walk with it. And when I left, I had never had what they call an energy storing foot like this in my life. So if it hadn't been for this piece of equipment that I have now, there, for one, it's smaller, it's real light. Matter of fact, I got a whole setup. I wouldn't have been able to get into the helicopter 'cause with this leg I have now. It has a spring on the side that I'm able to twist it a certain way to get in. Most definitely wouldn't have been able to get on that horse without having this set up here, the way that I got up on the horse. Uh, so prosthetics make a big difference on your different activities. Um, for being above knee, below knee, obviously different from above knee. It's all about the type of knee unit you got, the type of foot that you have, and what type of activities that you're doing. Because I forgot one thing. I'm scuba diving. I'm about to get my certification to scuba dive. So I'm about to get it set up now that I'm able to twist the bottom off and put a scuba leg on with a fin that I didn't know they had for above knee. So they do have different equipments for different activities that you plan on doing that I didn't know. The majority of my life I played wheelchair basketball that was wheelchair sports. So after I stopped playing wheelchair basketball, I found out that it's a whole nother world, and I'm still learning for amputee. Mostly my life was in the wheelchair. So now, uh, being in my 50s, now I'm about to start getting active. I'm doing a lot of amputee stuff and finding out about different equipment and different things you need. Being amputee and being able to stay active.
Wow. Yes. Well, I've always come into myoelectric hand from the beginning. My doctor strategically, at the time of my own accident, strategically did a surgery that's going to help targeted muscle area with with a hand that is myoelectric. And again, myoelectric hand costs significantly much more higher than the other ones. People with Medicaid could not afford something like this that I have. And that's because I thank God for the institution that I worked for and the New Jersey states that helped me out to be in this kind of hand that have helped me out a great deal. It has taken me a long way, having this myoelectric hand to go further than what I thought would have been a much more difficult ordeal for me as an amputee. And like I will say, I hate the hook. I don't want the hook. There are other amputees who manage the hook, but not me. I've always liked to feel feminine, and the hook does not give me that feminine feeling. So up till this day, don't give me the hook. And you mentioned about the prosthetic leg. It is an FDA regulation that they cannot recycle the prosthetic limb to another amputee within the United States. But there is a place they call the Pentagroup that refurbish those prosthetic limbs and send them to Africa or third world countries. They go to different third world countries and then they donate those refurbished limbs to them. But the United States, I cannot want my hand and go give it to somebody who Medicare did not give a myoelectric hand to and say that, well, I have a myoelectric hand. Your hand is as big or small like mine, so you can use mine. It does not work that way because the United States has a regulation that I really did not deep dive into the nuances and the reason why. Because in every policy, there must be some reason why they don't want us to recycle the prosthetic claims within the United States. But in the country where I came from and in other countries, in other third world countries, they take them in a heartbeat. They use them. And somebody that will use it for their own benefit and walk around singing songs of praise. This is where the saying comes in. One's man meat is another man's poison. Because I may have said it wrong, but in that kind of context, that's what the saying comes out to be. And my post-study claims have helped me out so much. I cannot live without it. When I see other people not wearing their limb, like the guy that saw you at the mall and said, boy, you better put that limb on, otherwise you're going to get dragged. I do the same. Well, I would not say I do it in a way like scolding people, because I am with an amputee group where all of those amputees are amputees, because you don't meet a lot of amputees around a lot. It's hard for you to get all my amputees support group that I go to. I am the only person who don't have a hand. They come in once in a while and then you don't see them again. But the lower extremity limb lost amputees, they are steadfast in these groups. They are there, they are talking, they are voicing their opinion, they are talking about their pains, and all these other things. But we, the arms amputee, the upper extremity amputees, don't do a lot of activities. So when I go to the clinic, I will always say to them, I said, why is your hand in your, they will carry the hand in the bag that they give them with. And then they walk into the clinic with no, come in, leave the bag somewhere and walk in with your with your prosthetic hand, because that's how you get used to be using it. I saw a lower extremity amputee on Facebook this past week. Oh, a few weeks. I've been seeing her on Facebook, and she was always, people were always saying, why are you walking on your knees? Why don't you have a prosthetic limb? She's married with children, and she will always be defiant and saying, I am comfortable the way I am walking. Nobody should tell me what I should do, and da 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 da. But I think with continuous convincing from the audience and maybe her husband and family members, and maybe the children, she went on to go get some prosthetic limbs. While she's working on them, when she started, she find it so cumbersome. And she was complaining and complaining and complaining that this hurts, it's hard. She's comfortable just using the wheelchair and walking around with her knees and taking care of her family. She doesn't need the prosthetic limbs because she has both legs amputated. I think she had some kind of congenital amputation as a young child. So they decided to amputate both legs, right on the knee. So the knee is flat enough so she can walk on them like you and I are walking on our legs. Well, listen, like I am walking on my legs and everybody else, society at large. These few days, with continuous practice and the children motivating her, she's saying, oh my God, I am getting used to this. I love it. Now, even though she's using two canes to support her, now she's lifting the canes them up and walking freely with the amputated leg. And now she's loving it because she's seeing the freedom that she's getting with the prosthetic limbs than when she was just using the wheelchair and all this other thing. I know in everything it comes with their own constraints, no matter what. Even people with I know people with pains on their body with two legs and two arms, before they could get out of the chair, it's like oh my goodness, my back, my side, I cannot move it. So everything else has its own kind of constraints in life, and especially with age as well. But you just have to want to practice. I, for one, went in with the mindset that from the get-go, I am going to use my hand and I'm going to make the hand useful for me. And it has worked. Most times I have to tell people that I am an amputee because they're not seeing the amputation in me. They're looking at me talking to them rather than looking at my hand. Though we feel sometimes that people are looking at us because of some kind of insecurity one way or another, but most people don't pay attention to your disability except you tell them. And then that's when they're like, oh, you are? And I'm like, really? All right. Let's talk about community and support. What kind of accountability feels helpful to you? Is it track, appointment, check-in? What kind of accountability for community and support feels helpful to you? If I could,
I would say for me would be most definitely appointments, uh, goal setting that I write down, which I get up every morning between 4:30 and 5, and most definitely appointment setting because it gives me something to strive for. People talk about me now. I get up so early, and they give me some type of structure on what I'm going to do. And I guess that's what I kind of miss, from playing, wheelchair basketball. I had certain things that I went to the Y in the morning because I swam every day. I would get up in the morning. The Y will open up at 5. I would do so many laps from 5 to 6. I leave from there. I go home. I had my little routine I did, and then I would work with other disabled athletes at a certain time. So I kept myself uh, busy, with goal setting and appointments. Because once I write something down, benefit of doubt, it's going to get done. So that's that's a real big deal for me because I can't just wing it. Because I have so many thoughts or so many things I want to do in my head that once I write it down and make it an appointment, uh, or a goal, it's just like when I came out to your 5K. Once I told you I was going to come and I wrote it down, I got my ticket right away. So that's how I've been kind of doing really for my whole life. So the thing for me is goal setting, and I'm married now, and talking about what I'm going to do, which with my best friend, my wife now. So that's what I do.
Yes, I believe in putting it out there in the universe,
Yes.
sometimes talking about it, because once my word is my gun, I believe in the honest system.
Hmm.
I am a human being. I do fall short sometimes. But once I tell somebody that I am doing something, just like you said, I am going to do it.
Hmm.
That's my own premise, except in an extenuating circumstances where
Hmm.
I couldn't do it. But at the same time, I like to let the person know in advance I would not be able to or I can't. So I've always been an accountability kind of individual.
Hmm.
I take account of what I do, how I do it, and how I worked with others. Just like when you said you're sending me an invitation to your wedding, and I said to you, we're coming. My
Yes.
husband and I are coming. And that was a determination that rain, hail, or snow, I'm a
Yeah.
mailman.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to do it. Just
Yes.
like now, for me to tell you that I am dedicated to your activities for amputee next year, I've already started paying on it so that
Yes.
I will be able to make that appointment to the cruise as you have, the
Yes.
activity that you're planning on doing. I don't care what it is. I don't care how it is. I'm, I am going there with an open mind, not what I'm going to get out of it. When I
Hmm.
get there, I'm going to make the best out of it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so I am more of an accountability kind of person. Hold me accountable of
Hmm.
what I say to you and what I do to you as a person.
Hmm.
If I say something wrong that you don't like, call me up on it. Say,
Hmm.
Lydia, you said something to me that I don't really like. If it's something that I could be apologetic about, I will. If it's something that I know that you deserve it, I try to always find a way to ease people them out most times. I
Yes.
believe in, if possible, live peaceably with all men. I think it is somewhere in the Bible that says that. I don't know. I know the words, but I don't know where in the Bible it is. I heard it. I've heard it enough in church, so I know how to quote it.
Yes. Hmm. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now we're coming to us. Self-compassion and emotional health.
Mm.
How do we talk to ourselves when we struggle with activity or mobility. I don't
Mm,
have problem with mobility. So how do you talk to yourself when
mm.
you're struggling with activity or mobility?
Wow. Well, for a long time, for me, I've been mobile really all my life, but that self motivation, uh, I was cool in public. But I doubted myself, that's why I try to be as transparent as I can. Because I've been to enough support groups to know that once I'm transparent and I open up, and a lot of newcomers open up where they're at, and a lot of old timers come up front, is I doubted myself for 20 years being amputee. I was cool in public, but when I came back, I can't do this, I can't do that, and it took me a long time to get to where I'm at now. Until, like I say, when I met the one brother that was a double amputee and he gave me the book, You're Not Alone, it changed my life forever. So from 20 years on up to being almost 38 for the last 18 years, I wake up every morning and I encourage myself. I tell myself, that I'm great. I can do what any other able body can do, maybe a little slower. Uh, and I have to do that. I'm a praying person. I wake up. I do my little prayer meditation. I got about 4 or 5 readings that I do, and I'm real grateful all through the day for basic things. When I put my leg on, I'm like, thank you. When I'm able to go in the kitchen, I'm able to get something out the refrigerator and cook. I'm thankful. I'm always, people, now my wife kind of imitate me. I go like this. I kiss my lips and I point up because I can remember the time when I couldn't do the things that I could do now. So I'm grateful for everything. I can, when I get in my car, sometimes I'm driving and I drive a lot because I do a lot of fundraisers for amputees. And so when I'm riding in between going from one spot to another spot is I'm just thanking God. Sometimes I can just kind of drift off. And sometimes I snap out of it and say, "Oh man, I didn't hit a car. I was gone for 15 minutes." But it's my main thing is having a lot of gratitude for being who I am. And I don't down myself at all. And I guess this glow that I have, I literally done had people really over, especially this last summer, that because I wear shorts, I'm real comfortable now with wearing shorts, real comfortable for the last. I done had people come up to me, Lydia, and say, "Man, I didn't know that you was disabled." And I look down, I'm like, oh, I mean, they shocked, right? Because people look me in the eye. The one thing I find out is if you feel good about yourself, people gonna treat you good. If you feel sad and feel down, that's what they do. And see, I was down for so long that I looked down at my leg, whoa me, that when they came, they was looking at my eyes. I really believe that now. They was, so I'm always looking down. They probably was looking down too, saying, "What is he looking at?" And now I walk with my head high up. So that's one of the reasons, and I haven't really touched. That's one of the reasons that I love my nonprofit organization, which is amputeesawesome.org. Not only that I want to help people to get prosthetic limbs and do different activities, is for amputees to love themselves because I didn't love being disabled for a long time. I told my brother and them, and he was shocked. I said I didn't like being an amputee for years. A lot of people it's hard, but I literally want for people that I meet, to really be honest with yourself. I could be honest. People come, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." And once I, got to the point whereby I said, "Well, I didn't like being disabled," and I ran across another amputee in Texas who gave me permission to be that way. So one of the things I want to do is give people permission to hurt. You know, because I ran across a pastor who his arm was gone up here, and he had a prosthetic leg. And I never forget going. He said, "What?" He said, "What you want? Why you bothering me?" And he said, "Well, your leg is gone, but he said my arm is gone. Literally, he pastor would just had nothing, couldn't even wear one, and he gave me the motivation to say, sometime I wake up. That's the reason I'm so active now. So when I wake up and I'm tired or I don't want to stay active today, is I know that I got to do this. You know, it's for me. You know, 'cause you know the body can tell you not to do something, but my mind. And when we was talking about that goal setting and being accountable to myself, that's the reason I love who I am. I literally love who I am. I love being amputee. I love being somebody who's visually impaired. I just love who I am. Period.
It's wonderful, James, because you have to love yourself and you are loved. You have everything to be grateful about.
Yeah.
Even with your amputation at age 18, you raised 4 boys
Mm-hmm.
who are successful right
Mm-hmm.
now. All 4 of them. You did not mention, and again, children will be children because we all have our times during growing up as young adults or teenagers when we give our parents or guardians them some issues. But at the same time, they are where you want them to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. You have 4 of them, you have grandchildren. I remember you talking about that when we sat at your home in
Yes.
Alabama. 5
Yeah. Five
grandchildren.
granddaughters. Yes,
Oh,
five girls.
yeah, 4 sons and 5 granddaughters. You know what?
Yes.
I'm done with you. You close the books.
Yes.
And you have you married a beautiful woman
Yes.
who loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you were married for a long time as well, until you got remarried again about 10 years later.
Yes. Yes.
So those are all parts of growth and love.
Mm-hmm.
I have met amputees who don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
They live in a nursing home, which you would not even want your worst enemy to stay at.
Mm-hmm.
They have no family or relative coming to them. They are depressed. They are in pain. They are struggling. But look at us.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
know that I do question my ability all the time for this kind of accidents to have happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I said to myself, why not me? Why would I want to wish an accident or an amputation on somebody else other than myself?
Mm-hmm.
Why not me?
Mm-hmm.
So we should be grateful for the life that we have and the lives that surround us, the people, the loved ones. Saturday, I drove 3.5 hours to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an event, met friends and families, laugh, have very good camaraderie during that time. I enjoyed myself, took pictures, met people who I haven't seen in a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
have a wonderful time. Even dance a lot
Mm.
because
Yes.
yeah, we Africans. I was telling my husband's auntie the other day. I said we dance for everything. I said, we have children, we dance. We have funeral, we dance. I said, you name it, the dog cry, we dance.
Yes. Yeah, I can remember coming to your event. I still got a little video with two of you. I don't know if they was brothers or relatives. I remember going out there on the dance floor doing the event, going out there dancing. I still watch that video
That's
now.
my brother.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the we grew up dancing. We always have to create joy, even during sadness. We have to
Yes,
create some kind of laughter because we cannot change some
yes.
things that happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we can do about what happened to us is find resilience,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
find
That's it.
resilience,
Mm-hmm.
voice, get up, use your voice, talk about what's going on with you. I am talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad that I joined Toastmasters before I lost my before I lost my hand. And I became a fervent member at the Rutgers University Staff Toastmaster Club. The Toastmaster Club gave me the confidence that I never had to talk in front of crowd, to talk in front of people, to be who I want to be. Toastmaster gives me that growth in leadership
Mm-hmm.
that I was looking for. And now, being an amputee, to get in front of a crowd and talk to them, it's just the start. Once I start talking, I'm good.
Yes. Yes.
um, somebody told me that I have a voice of a reporter. And I said, I don't know about all that. I have a bold voice, but I don't know about the voice of a reporter, but I have a voice that captures the ears of people, an
Mm-hmm.
audience. My
Yes.
voice goes, my voice amplified a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions before I'm gonna let you go. What motivation comes up when you think about activities?
Mm. What motivation comes up when I think about activities? Uh, well, with this cycling event that I'm about to do August of next year, um, the motivation for that is for me to, uh, I don't know, something about this ride that's really inspired me to really help a lot of amputees on a journey. I just brought a tripod. I brought some different stuff because I'm doing interviews from Miami all the way up to Michigan because I want to have videos to inspire the amputees. So my motivation is this ride. Uh, because I know it's not for me. Something way bigger than me is putting it together, and it's just transforming to something that I believe is going to be real big, and something that I hope to inspire other amputees to let them know that that they can stay active, that they can do things that they normally can't do. Because I want to talk about me not riding a bike since I was a kid. Riding from Miami to Florida, Miami to St. Maria on the other side of the bridge in Michigan, and to let them know that it's never too late, never too early, and it's never too late, that you can do whatever you want to do when you put your mind to it. One limb, two limbs, that we can accomplish whatever we want. And I just want to be a part of this whole, because I know a lot of amputees like yourself, Lydia, who's doing a lot of stuff. And for one, I never thought I could be one. I've been across, I've been to big support groups, like I'm going out to Amputee Coalition of America, the biggest amputee conference that they have here in the United States in January. And I'd have met some fabulous people who told me, James, you can do it. You should, and I never thought that it was me. For one, I believe sometimes, hanging out or being with other amputees to know that it's bigger than me. Sometimes when we just look at ourselves, for me, I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's my ego, saying that it's me, me, me. But once I moved out the way and said that I really want to help out other amputees, the doors open up. Because it's way bigger than us. That's the reason I connected up with you. Even when I first talked to you on the phone, I told my fiance, which is my wife now, I was like, we're gonna link up. I said, I'm gonna work with her. I got like 4 or 5 people that I'm gonna do something that, we kind of talked about it is, you got a lot of amputees across the country that's doing different stuff, but we're not like linked. So I done met like a lot of people who, like when I go, I say, do you know this person? They say, oh, you know them. That's just like the organization that you talk to about uh, helping out to get prosthetic limbs around the country. Now here you go. I called them in New York and I just threw some names out there. Oh, you know Lydia? That's why a lot of people, when they look at me, they say, how do you know all of these people? So what I did was 10 years ago, I just started getting on the plane. And how Amputees Are Awesome guys started was it was a prank. Some guys who I went to school with, it was a joke. I just made a T-shirt that says "Amputees Are Awesome" with my logo, and I started flying everywhere, going to hospital, just giving people administrate a T-shirt that turned out to be my nonprofit organization. So I guess God gave me that ability of meeting a lot of people. So now, through my efforts, through me being active, I want to kind of bring as many people as I can together, so that we can form something whereby if it's an amputee, somebody that's upper extremity need help that's in Nebraska, they got Lydia in New Jersey, right? So nobody is alone. And with social media now, it should be no reason that if a person need whatever type of help, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, however it is, being amputee, we should be all linked up, that we can just make one phone call. And it shouldn't be, to me, just one organization like the one that I'm going to. We should have each individual like us, because we're the ones that's going to make the difference. Whereby when they make that phone call, it just won't be a referral. That's just for me. That's just for me. You call and they referring you. I want to link up people that I can literally send people to, and I'm going to do it through me being active. And this first ride I'm about to do is only going to be my first of many. Because I can see amputees from all over. I had one guy while I was with that was amputee. He said, "Man, we're going to do stuff all over the world." So I'm going to take his mission. My thing is to help our amputees all over the world.
Yes. James, one last question before we go. I know I've taken a little bit more of your time, but one last question. Are you up for it?
Is I'm a
One
poet?
last question.
Okay.
What does success look like for you in your own term?
Uh, wow. Now, success to me is being a servant uh, to, uh, and I can say this, being a servant to God and helping out others is success to me. If I can lay down at night and say that I was able to help out another amputee, that's success to me. That's greater than, I tell people all the time. Uh, you can give me all the money in the world. You can give me the biggest car. You can give me the biggest house. All of this would never make up for the loss of my limb. But for me to be able to, however, in any way that God want me to touch another amputee's life and to change his life for or her life for the better, that's success to me.
I feel the same way too, James. Success to me is changing someone's life. When I see an amputee that I've helped come to me and say, Lydia, you motivate me, that's been successful to me. That I feel like I am doing something good. And whatever I am doing is showing some impact in other amputees' lives. And I have lost a few amputees, which due to suicidal, because they cannot resist the thought of being an amputee and the notion of not being able to be themselves. They may not have the motivation like you and I have. And because of that, they are no longer with us. Some of those times is when I feel as though that maybe I failed them somewhere. But my motto is reach one, help one. Even though I may reach a lot of amputees, but I may not be able to help every one of them. Because in things, I think I wrote it down. Let me see if I have that. People have to want to help themselves in life. I could try, even with your children. You could try to help them, but if they don't want to help themselves, there is nothing you could do. Once an amputee starts giving me excuse after excuse, then I realize that they don't want to help themselves. And I think I heard Star Jones say this word, and I wrote it down. Excuses are tools of incompetencies. I know she is not the original person that says that. There is somebody else that said it. But I wrote the title down because I am one person who don't like excuse. I always tell people, I don't see yesterday and I don't have tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's what's happening now for me. How am I going to reach out to you and help you out, or that individual out, or that person, or even myself as a person? I don't have tomorrow and I don't see yesterday. James, the model for the missing piece is stories of resilience, voices of hope. We have to be resilient. We have to have hopes. We have to put our voices out there. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon with me.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you for taking the time to sit with me and talk about activities as an amputee and how you are motivating other amputees. What your activities are going forward with your nonprofit organization. The cycle ride and the cruise. Those are set for next year.
Yes.
And as best as I could, I'm going to be there to be of your support.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Thank you so much. May God bless you.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in into The Missing Piece. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and amplify more voices. Until next time, keep finding strength in your story.